In this tutorial, we will review my multiple attempts at photographing the northern lights in the Catskills. The first time was unexpected. In February, I was out photographing the Orion Nebula when my behind-the-scenes time-lapse picked up a red glow. As you can see on the right side of the frame, there is a red glow that sneaks into the last frame. I shifted north to see if I could capture it. Then, over the course of 2 minutes, the northern lights appeared in bright red columns over the mountains. I learned then that I should capture time lapses of the northern lights as much as possible. I also learned that 15 seconds is too long of an exposure for northern lights, and that I would have to adjust my settings for the next time. That next time came in April, with a KP6 from a solar storm. I went out to the Ashokan Reservoir and I shot 6-second exposures for 45 minutes on a windy night. Next, I'd like to review some of the tools I use when considering photographing the northern lights. First, I always check spaceweather.com. Spaceweather is a great resource for solar activity and updates on northern lights potential. I have learned to check the location of sunspots in this critical zone as they are facing towards Earth. Eruptions from these sunspots supercharge particles in the atmosphere, causing the northern lights. Spaceweather also uses solar data from NASA, and sometimes they have video clips of giant filaments leaving the sun. For northern lights, the scale of intensity is measured on the KP index. As you can see, NOAA has a 3-day forecast for KP index. It is in universal time, so for Eastern Standard Time we have to subtract 4 hours. To determine if the KP index is strong enough, I check this map. Anything above KP5 should be enough to be seen from where I live. KP5 on the horizon, with KP6 through 9 showing overhead. Once I am happy with the expected intensity, I check the weather forecast. Weather Underground has 10-day forecasts with cloud cover, and I found this to be the most accurate over the years. Also in consideration is the moon. It's good to check the phase of the moon before going out so you have a better idea of the types of images you can capture. Ideally, you want dark and clear skies, little to no moon, and minimal wind. The secondary forecast I check is from NOAA directly. I check their hourly graphs for cloud cover and wind. Their forecast is mostly accurate, but sometimes there are unexpected clouds, and on those nights it's hard to lose sleep for nothing in return. For the remainder of this tutorial, we will review the time-lapse I shot in April and some of the individual shots from February. We will focus on editing technique as well as creating the sequence through LR time-lapse. We start in Lightroom by importing the raw images from April. First, this is my test shot outside my house. Using a high ISO and no tripod, you can usually see at least some color in the sky when there are northern lights. I saw a slight red glow and told myself to go out. I shot these frames at the Ashokan Reservoir around midnight. Moving into the Develop module, I adjust the crop by straightening the horizon. I edited this once before, so I have the settings saved. I set the temperature to 4150 and the tint to 30. I dropped the highlights to -26 and moved the shadows up to +35. I moved the whites to +38 and moved the black point to +29. Moving these settings allows me to see more detail in the photo, more detail in the shadows, and more detail in the highlights. Next, I move to lens corrections to remove the vignette. Lastly, I move to vibrance and saturation, and finally to sharpening. I find the last frame in the sequence and synchronize. I export these as JPEGs at 96% in their own folder, and reopen in LR time-lapse. Since we already edited the sequence, we can go straight into rendering the video. I render at 24 frames per second at normal speed. This is the final time-lapse from April. I also found a few frames I liked from after the time-lapse. I'm going to synchronize this frame with one from the time-lapse and correct the crop. Now let's take a look at the images from February. I'm going to go to the frame with the most pillars of light that I can see. I perform lens corrections and work on basic settings. I try not to overdo the editing on these shots because it's easy to overprocess. These are the final images. Thank you for watching this tutorial. If you would like to see more content like this, please subscribe and comment below. Happy Northern Lights hunting!